We are fortunate in Ramah to get high quality, high powered, knowledgeable Jews that grow up to develop leading roles in the Jewish community.
The dream was to focus on the conservative Jewish community, and since then the number of Ramah camps certainly has grown and keeps growing as well.
The vision was fulfilled far beyond the dreams of the people who started it.
Ramah in the Berkshires got started through the seminary's leadership. They saw a need for a residential camp for Ramah serving the New York area.
From its beginnings, Ramah has always looked for, and I'm going to use a word that is verboten now, we were looking for the elite children in each congregation. When we first started Ramah, we wanted the best students, and our rabbis were our agents, our educational directors, and the presidents of the congregation.
We got a new rabbi who encouraged my parents to send me to Ramah. He said to them, basically, if you want Beth to have a real Jewish neshama, if you want her to feel something special about being Jewish, you should send her to Ramah.
We wanted the elite, and we wanted them to train them to be elite. Elite in the sense of being leaders in the Jewish community.
I think you see it in the number of leaders on the community lay level, professionals, rabbis, Hebrew school educators, Jewish day school educators. The numbers are pretty amazing and impressive in terms of how many of them have Ramah backgrounds.
Anyone will tell you that from an educational standpoint, Ramah is the gold standard. They really are.
The opening of Wingdale was wild.
We came on at the very beginning, and it was really in transition. It had been the physical structure was in poor condition. It had been another camp. It was Camp Kiwa.
It was quite run down. The camp that had sold it beforehand, Kiwa, was probably at the end of its day. But what did we didn't know. For us, being away from Brooklyn, this was country, real country.
My early years were not that long after was Camp Kiwa.
Things were overgrown, not in the best of condition.
If you were on A side, you ate in the Chadar Ochel, which is now the common Chadar Ochel. If you were on B side, you ate in a building that has since kind of fallen into the lake and was eventually torn down.
Over the years, every year we've got to either patch or build.
The camp never thought that everybody could take showers before Shabbat.
The plumbing system was thoroughly inadequate.
17 bunks, 51 staff members. It was unbelievable just trying to get used to that.
We had many more kids than we should have that first summer.
The camp now is very, very strict about the right number of campers in each bunk, and the population generally totals about 510, 515 or so, which is a full camp. I opened the camp with 733 campers. I really had no idea how many it could hold.
Many people thought we couldn't survive.
So anything and everything we do in terms of programming, we try to do the best. The waterfront has certainly been a very central component of camp.
Ramah's always been known for tremendous swim instruction.
Also, most children do not swim in lakes during the year. And coming to our beautifully mountain-fed stream lakes is a real machaya, is a wonderful experience for them.
But they were running two waterfronts, then one over by Machane Bet and one at Machane Olive.
When the waterfront staff would arrive here in staff week, the great activity we used to get was what we used to call grooving on the algae, where we had to take brooms and whatnot and just dredge up all that algae that was stuck to the wooden planks on the crib, so that by the time the kids came it was already clean. When we were there it was rather gross.
And it was all wood and it began to fall apart. So the decision was made that that dock didn't have a lot of life left to it and we needed to rebuild the waterfront.
Both were terrible. The one at Machane Bet, deep flight of stairs, it had a wooden thing. It was hard enough to hire one waterfront staff, much less hire two.
And Skip was visionary in that. That turned out to be, really the wise and visionary decision, but the execution wasn't great.
The problem with the spot we picked, or I picked, was it was weed infested.
Where the main docks are now was a swamp.
These guys, they were unbelievable. They got out there with boats and they were trying to
dig it out. Literally, it felt like the African queen.
Take the weeds out, and they couldn't. They just couldn't make a hard, sandy bottom.
And we had kids coming up in 5 days, and we didn't know what to do because it was an unswimmable area, and we already destroyed Mezach Gimel.
I'm really in trouble.
And I found a guy who was specialized in lake management.
I said, you know what you do, Skip? Wait until does the lake freeze over? I said, yes, the lake freezes over. He says, wait.
You need to take black polyethylene plastic on top of the ice and lie it down over the entire area that you want to become your swimming area.
Go bring in trucks, dump sand, and then just wait.
And he said, you will have a beautiful, wonderful bottom for the next summer. And I said, well, what do? We have 500 kids coming up in 3 days. And he said, I don't know what you do.
When I told Stanley Michelson, he looked at me like I was insane. He really did. He looked at me like I was crazy.
Yeah, we got the black polyethylene plastic, and there were a number of us who were certified in scuba, and we literally unrolled the plastic on top of the water, and using scuba gear managed to sink that to the bottom. It was a real kind of crazy, somewhat dangerous operation. When the ice froze over, we did it again.
And sure enough, when the ice started to melt, because we had cut it out around, it all sank down and created a hard, sandy bottom.
I would say the original founders, the Schlesingers, the Davidsons, Siegels, Shapiros, the Yucks, other people as well, Fred Moses. Many of those people are still involved with camp.
I am the last surviving member of the original Camp Ramah in the Berkshires Committee.
They sent their children to camp who are now in their 40s and 50s and are still flag-waving Ramahniks.
Look, we had 3 daughters here. All 3 were campers and were on the water staff. So they needed boats, we bought boats.
We went through a lot of different business managers, people trying to put the camp together. And without the solid leadership, and without a business manager who really knew how to do the job, the camp suffered. And we finally pulled it together. We got a business manager by the name of Skip Vickness.
The Shapiros, Ola Shalom, the Davidsons, the Schlesingers, and the Siegels were these amazing families who really brought me there and supported me during the entire time I was there.
And it was the first time that any of the Camp Ramahs had gone outside of the movement and picked somebody who really knew camping.
They cared in a way that you run into few laymen who care. And the length of time that they have cared for that camp and nurtured that camp is just mind-boggling to me.
One year we came up here.
In the very beginning, we would come up
in June with paintbrushes and brush cans.
We would paint the bunks. And the committee would come up with their worst clothes on.
Probably we painted white.
White was the usual color.
Lisa and Jimmy Schlesinger, who you met, were two of the people, and Pauline and Noel Siegel were another two, and of course Saul Shapiro.
So it was the four of us that were the ones.
Six, really.
And we were the original cleaner uppers. And I think we bonded with a lot of people because of this.
And
we stayed on because we saw the good things that the camp was doing in every possible way for the campers. And we've seen them through the ups and the downs.
And we've seen it through two generations, our children and grandchildren, both being involved in the camp.
And now my grandchildren are coming, and she is coming back to work as a grown-up, and my heart just swells with pride. I'm so excited.
Back this summer as Skan Rosh Al Hagova, and my children will be here as well, which I'm very excited.
And of course my children came here, and now my granddaughter is coming here for the second summer, and we're looking forward to a great day here, and with many, many memories.
So our board has gone through a tremendous transformative experience.
Right, in the last 20 years. I can see it when I visit Ramah. I can see it when I read the newsletters, right? They actually talk about things that relate to camping, right? And I think that Paul and the board there have done a very good job of expanding the camp offering for kids there.
Camp Ramah in the Berkshires, and I actually, over time, I met some people who were on boards of various Camp Ramahs, and I thought, oh, I want to do that more than anything. I hope that someday I get to do that. And then I guess somebody just knew. I showed it somehow without ever saying it, and at some point I was asked to be on the board.
No, everything is handled very well now. There's a much, much larger group. There's a young group. We're just there to be the voice of memory, I say.
We started the Alumni Association in 1990, and there were a small group of us, 5 or 6 of us, and really the initial impetus for the Alumni Association was to raise scholarship money, because we heard about a couple of kids that really wanted to come to camp. If there was one thing that we could bring together alumni around, it would be to raise money to help kids get to camp.
And it's also a great way to have fun and also raise money for camp. Some of the alumni fundraisers are really big, important events for camp itself, and it's a way for us to give back to the camp that shaped our lives as it did.
As it grew, we got more involved in other things. We began to get involved in facilities and projects and doing different things for camp, a climbing wall, things for the arts, things for sports.
I think the Alumni Association is there to provide a connection to alumni of camp between the age when they stop being counselors and between when they are able to send their own kids to camp.
I think just the community. Wherever you go, there's always Ramah people. We're actually moving to a place where we, just know camp people, and that's the best thing for us. So
It connects them with their friends that they made throughout camp and turns them from summer friends to lifelong friends.
My favorite part of the job are the kids. I mean, the kids really have a lot of fun here. I love to see kids getting Judaism. And not just Judaism, but it's the love of Israel.
In a blink of an eye, that was a decade of my life, so I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
But here we are, a fantastic camp, fantastic board of directors, beautifully built up in every respect, from facilities to the grounds. So who knows what the right way is.
My hope is in the next 50 years, the marketplace will be different in 2023 and 33 and 53, but the kids are going to be more or less the same. A 10-year-old kid is a 10-year-old kid, and we have to nurture that soul in all kinds of different ways.
Joyous Jewishness, right? That's what camp is. It's joyous, right? And that's what attracts children to it. It's a complete environment. We can create a complete environment for kids. It's vital for the future of the Jewish community.
I've always believed that when you transform individuals, kids, that they come home and they end up transforming families.
I like to say that Camp Ramah made me a Jew by choice, even though I was born Jewish. We're all Jews by choice. We have lots of choices and lots of pathways that our lives can take. And imagine what a summer camp can do.
There is nothing like Ramah. Where we are now is just a result of Ramah, more than anything else. Not even how we grew up, it's how Ramah has shaped us.
We could easily focus on a glorious past. We could say, Dayenu, we've done great.
And here we are strong of what JTS stands for, of what Ramah stands for. At the deepest level, these are two institutions which are totally allied.
Tremendous opportunity for the future.